name's Claire Nash. My job is as a paid advocate and it's crisis led. So obviously people that come to us are in some form of crisis, and that obviously needs solving or working through in a relatively short amount of time for most people. But that in itself is not the end of the story, and quite often what we find is that it's the bigger picture around people that needs looking at to have the most effect in their life. I try and think out of the box a little bit. I try and think who is around this person, who is in their life already that I can utilise, and who is there that I think is going to be there for the long journey. And I try and bring those people in straight away so that they're already part of me supporting somebody to go through and solve their own problem. So even though that I'm a paid advocate, identifying the community and helping people connect with their community is an integral part of actually helping that person work through their own crisis and issues. So when I was asked to advocate for a mum who was part of an Irish travelling community, I was faced with some instant barriers, and one of them was really how to get into that community and how to be involved in that community. When I arrived on the site every morning very early, there was a regular member of the family who was up. He would quite often have a cup of tea and be wandering around kind of doing jobs around the site. And I also noticed when I was there first thing in the morning that he would be the one that knocked on the children's caravan in order to get them up for school. So he seemed like a natural person that I needed then to communicate with and get to know a little bit in order for him to help the lady that I was supporting. So one of the things that I did was I noticed as well that he quite liked the fact that I sat in the car waiting for her with the newspaper, and he would regularly come and say, "So what's going on in the news then, love?" and this kind of thing, and make a bit of chit chat with me. So every morning when I got there, when we were due for court, I would take a newspaper with me and I would read through the first few pages. He would have already knocked the caravan and woke her up and got her a cup of tea and that kind of thing. And then as we left, I would leave him the newspaper. So although my role was to be an advocate for mum and support through a court process, there was a whole other issue about actually working with this woman, working with her family, and also working with the community that she came from. Certainly for this mum, it was going to be a long-term support. That was very obvious from the beginning. And another thing that was really obvious was that there wasn't support from services that could be long-term. What this mum needed was actually support from other women and support from other women that dealt with parenting in a way that she understood, in a way that she knew. And there was one mum that always kind of cooked for all of the others. She would be the one that we all went into her caravan. She was obviously the kind of the dominant sort of mother figure that did all the cooking, that cooked it well. And so I kind of befriended this mum. She obviously had a lot of I don't want to use the word power, it wasn't power, but she had a lot of influence over the other women in the camp. And it was the other women in the camp that would eventually be supporting the mum that I was supporting. They would be the people that she drew from. So I befriended the woman who cooked the best bacon sandwiches in the world. But certainly, you know, getting to know people over a cup of tea and a bacon sandwich tells you so much about who those people are and where their skills are. So when it came to the time that I needed to find someone to support the lady, I knew exactly, you know, who was the real maternal person that was good with little babies, who had loads of patience for when they got to toddlers and played with them, who was the one on the site that kept the caravan really clean and was, you know, really good on the health and safety of the kids on the site. So it was easy to identify who then could support her further. What I was doing was helping her own community recognise where this person might need support, and as they weren't open to having an amount of services coming in and doing that for them, they felt that that was a much better option, that actually people were recognising what they could do. I think on reflection, when I look back at that work, I might not have realised it at the time, but it was actually about releasing the community's ability to actually support itself and support the people within that community itself by using all the skills and all the things that were already there. certainly in a way that services weren't going to be able to fulfil or sustain. So I think looking back, that's probably what that did, really.